Chapter 20X. Final Ilya map, I believe. After taking back Castle Edessa, Roy turns his troops toward the ancient ruins on the outskirts of the town. A legendary weapon is said to be hidden within. I don't actually have that many hours gameplay-wise, but because I speed up the game so often so that guys can, you know, miss their hand axes on me over and over and over again, it's just based off of, like, in-game time. So, like, the amount of hours I have in this are not that, even when you account for, like, all the erased timelines and stuff. Yeah, I do really love this game. Like, it doesn't even show my playtime properly anymore because I wasn't expecting players to get that many hours in this game. Here, let's, oops. Okay, go ahead and do that. Yoink, sure. There, like that, sure. Whoops. Where the heck? Guess you'd, yeah, be at the bottom there. Here, sure. You can hold on to those things, whatever. What am I dealing with this map? What's going on here? So, okay, these are breakable walls. Do I have to break both tiles, or I break one and then the whole thing breaks? So there's gonna be a bunch of walls? It looks like. Always a seize thing. Tick. Okay, it's... What a fun and engaging looking map, I guess. Is there anything that I need to know, like reinforcements? Let's see here. So, Chapter 20AX, the Spear of Ice. At the end of the chapter, you'll obtain the Maltet. There's one druid with Berserk and another druid with Sleep Staff, so watch out. Area of effect is basically the entire map. Oh. Okay, but there's no note. It's about, like, any reinforcements or anything. So, hold on. I don't care about turn count anymore, so... like, it's... fine. You're, like, right in there, huh? So, magic 25. Range magic. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Oh. I was just thinking, what if I send someone into range that can't even be berserked? Well, or that can be berserked, but, like, doesn't really care about it, like Laram. Like, what's gonna happen? Like, FE6 and 7 made their boss names by just making random sounds until it sounded vaguely name-like, honestly. They probably did, didn't they? Alright, so I can absolutely grind out my bonds here. If I can finish that one off. Probably finish this off. And those are the only ones to really work at. Like, I could bring Chad and work at that, I guess. Bring Trek and work at a backup one, if I really care about that. But I don't necessarily know that I do. That one stat booster I might just give to Laram. Potentially. Those that can actually still gain experience and stuff. Those that can still gain some weapon experience at least. Gonna be next on my priority list. And then... yeah, Laram for sure. I don't know why I didn't select her before. And yeah, that might just be all I need. I could bring Chad for someone else for, just other bond to be building up. I could bring Trek for that reason too. I could bring Gonzalez, and then this is the map that he actually gets his stats up and stuff. Get that done with. I don't know. Gonzalez and Trek or something. I mean, getting these up to A is probably going to be more than enough support as is anyway, right? Rather than trying to add more into the mix. Like, I don't know. It doesn't really matter that much. How often am I really taking him? Not very often at all is what I think. There isn't anything that I can steal on this map, is there? So basically no reason to take Chad outside of just, like, support. I don't think there's anything I can steal here. But, like, I don't necessarily need, like, my full squad, all my best units. Everyone is... what? Oh, I see. I'm bringing my pairs to finish off support-wise. There's no one in the back here that needs to work at more weapon level. Oh, I guess you can. If you're still figuring out anima magic. Yeah, so maybe I'll bring Claire in and she can keep on using that. 'Cause yeah, you're done. You're done. Not really much more that you can work on. So let's see here. Ray, go ahead and get that red gem out of here. That's just gonna needlessly fill more inventory space. Larum, let's see here. I would like to take these. Is there someone that would like those speed wings? Who would like +2 speed? Let's see here. So 17, 20. Could always contribute to make my Roy better. Like, once he promotes and he starts gaining, like, a bunch of stats and stuff like that, he'll be better. Make my Lilina super fast if I really want to. 22 maxed out there. Yours is maxed out. I'm probably gonna have Roy in the fray a decent bit. Maybe I should just give it to Roy. Or something. Because he promotes so dang late. There's no way that I get to the point where I'm maxing out any of his stats before the end of the game, right? Speed wings. I'm pretty sure I gave him the robe once before. Maybe I should give one to Larum just so that she has a little bit better survivability. Because sometimes I am using her as a dodge tank. So with +7 HP, you can always give it to Lilina. But my people that are actually at the forefront in the fray, could always give it to Claren or something. Like, I do kind of use her in the fray a decent bit. Maybe I will, actually. Maybe I will give it to her, but, you know, may as well take it this way. This is what I may as well do. Okay, and then say, those are both about to break there. I guess you'll use a whole bunch of sword this way. God, I wish Roy promoted earlier. Same. Because my goodness gracious. Absolute insanity. Here. And then, like, I don't know. Sure, take another one of those. Sounds good to me. Couple lances. The one sword. Sure. So, yeah. Swords are the thing that you need less of. Yeah, this seems fine. That seems a-okay there. This seems a-okay here. You would like some stuff. So take some stuff there. Here, another one. Why not? And then, yeah, you're gonna continue working at axes here and all that. As you do. You're gonna keep on working at axes as you do. You're gonna keep on working at your magic as you do. Yeah, you're at S with both, which is nice, but Claren can definitely still use some more hits. Alright, so my tech map now. This isn't my full squad, is it? Oh! Oh god! What the hell? And they're gonna berserk across like the whole map here. Oh. Hold on. Hold on, just a hot ticker. So yeah, range magic, that's 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Maybe each of my squads can just, like, pull into a corner. Maybe what they can do. Here, you guys can start working at a support. Like this. And then, in the meantime, be working at a support over here, too. I'd like you down here, honestly. So up there. Sure, take Ray. Stuff. Sounds good to me. Something like that, and then we split off. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling here about this map as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I can try dipping out as much as possible, because if I don't have to use of the restore staff, then great. Wait, my playtime actually is displaying properly again. It just can't display the 0 properly there. Weird. Okay, well. Here, let's try it. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make the main lord a mediocre sword-locked foot unit, but without the crit bonus that makes units like Rooker and Fur really good. In a game where every map is a seize the throne map, so you have to drag him across the map, and then make him not promote until the end game. Words of the mentally deranged. Agreed. Stay pop filter, damn you. Alright, well. Chapter 20X. The Blizzard Spear. Technically Chapter 20AX. If you want to be exact, but the game doesn't tell you about the route splits there. My goodness, that chin there. Sir Tick, the enemy is advancing. Don't panic. The path through the ruins is blocked off. And even if it wasn't, I could shove my gigantic chin in there and then they wouldn't be able to get through. They're not getting in here so easily. The enemy has had so many victories against Ilya's troops. Even many of our own men have fallen to them. See how we can expect victory. We don't need a victory. General Murdoch said that we simply must hold our ground. We defend until the enemy gives up and leaves. The legendary weapon lies in here. Elfin, do you know about this place? Yes. I believe that Maltet, the Blizzard Spear, lies in these ruins. Blizzard Spear. Berrigan, the Holy Knight, used it during the scouring. Berrigan? He's a hero to all knights. I studied him a great deal. He was honorable in everything he did. Except sports. He always cheated. This building seems to have walls everywhere. Is there a way inside? Byrne's forces most likely blocked the pathways to cover their tracks. And they must have been in a rush. Maybe the walls are weak in certain areas. That is quite possible. Alright, let's do what we can. And by do what we can, we fuck off really quickly, like this. No, we may as well do this. I should have gotten a second fire tome. What I should have done. But I have so many freaking thunders in the convoy that it's fine anyway. Here, I think Roy's gonna need the movement boost the most here. This is what it's gonna be. Do that again. Okay. Get out of here. So, yeah, my units could meet up that way. Here. For the sake of support. Alright, this is as much in this way as we can get. But yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. And then over here, meanwhile, we do this. Okay, and then I'll also get to see if enemies do anything on their own. No. Okay. So can I get someone specific in there to get berserked is the question. Like Laram, where it's not gonna matter. Is what I want to know. And also, 26 magic, range magic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm already in range. So how do I make you actually use the dang thing? Maybe they'll just use it at like a certain point and there's nothing that I can do about it? If so, that really sucks. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. But is the Berserk guy gonna come over? Let's just have them waste their uses so I don't have to use my Restore Staff more than I have to. Plus, it'd be hard to use my Restore Staff when my guys are all separated and stuff anyway. Okay, so you didn't Berserk Laram. If you Berserk Roy, that's fine, because he's so freaking wimpy. So see if I can get Roy in there to get Berserked potentially. So, you're gonna sleep some more dudes? Yeah, that seems to have baited you out. So you'll just put this side to sleep. But like, Not like any guys are coming after them, so who even cares? Yeah, I want Roy to be kind of shoving his face in there. Maybe it's only after I attack and do something to be pressing forward. Like, that's what that side did. So, I mean... Oh, he's using the sleep over here, but hey, that works. So that is now no more sleep staff use. It's done for. Okay. Oh, here we go. Look, he's berserking Roy. Look, that works great. Like, what's a Roy gonna do against my units? Oh my god, he equipped the silver sword. Why did he equip the silver sword? Me, Roy. Okay, well. It's fine because he's gonna miss anyway. That's one berserk staff use. Slow and steady here and all that. Look, he missed. I should take that silver sword from him. That's what I should do. Once I get the chance here. Yeah, so I mean, like... Oh, he landed one. I can move faster than he can, though. Okay, wakey wakey. Before we get berserked over here. Yeah, so you moved to be able to land that berserk. Don't know if you would here. Yeah, look, I can just move faster than you anyway. Gonna be 2 more turns of berserk. So... Okay. We're awake. Yeah, I want that berserk dealt with before we press in there. So at least I'm grinding support in the meantime. I'll probably be able to finish off, like, my main important supports during this map. I would imagine. Don't berserk us from here, please. Hold on. Yeah, the last turn there. Don't berserk a different one of us, please. Oh my god. Okay, that's fine. Okay, yep, that's cool. So can he berserk someone that can't attack? Is there anything stopping me from trading over, like, my inventory pretty much completely? Hold on. Like, I'm in no rush here. Here, it's time to save state. Because this is gonna be a little while here, I could always chat about, like, other stuff that's been going on around here. Because I didn't get the chance to during the last time that I streamed, so... There's been a decent few things since the last time. Maybe I shouldn't have upped Roy's speed yet. Maybe that wasn't a great idea. One thing that happened here recently was TaeKwonDo Festival. So with stuff with TaeKwonDo, okay, you do that. But it's probably just gonna miss, right? Ooh, hell yeah. I was just thinking about, like, healing Larum there. Is all. But I can probably just run away from Roy the moment he gets berserked, so I think it's probably fine anyway. So, TaeKwonDo Festival is an event that hasn't gone on since before COVID. The last time was 2019. The year before COVID hit. And it's essentially, I essentially describe it as like track and field for TaeKwonDo students. Alright, you're not gonna berserk him if he can't attack. Are ya? Where our school comes together with a set of other schools. Here, just take this for now. I guess I could have danced him and sent him back in there. That's really cool, just like in a big kind of gym training facility kind of area. Going at it with some friendly competition. Getting to meet students from other schools and competing with them and having a good time. So it's been a long time since that's gone on. berserk him. Hell yeah, there's the last berserk use. Sweet. Now I just run away from Roy. A little smidge. As he goes to the right, I kind of want him to go this way, and I will save state abuse for it. So, first time that's gone on since COVID, and our school came together with this set of other schools. Yeah, look, we're good. We can start pressing in now. Sweet. Well, I'll make sure that that's okay first. Okay. Just make sure of that. It's hard for me to tell stories while things are, like, actively going on, as opposed to just, like, turning off my brain. Though I should be able to turn off my brain for, you know, what's going on here. It's nothing too complicated. Hey, Roy, you better not. And, so I was looking forward to doing that. In previous years, I'm used to refereeing a lot of the sparring matches going on. Okay, this is fine. And I figured I would this year as well, but it sounded like they wanted the sparring refereeing to go to a lot of the junior black belts so that they get a chance to experience it and, you know, just get that helpful experience and all that. So I wasn't doing much sparring refereeing this time, thank you Iron Sword. But still helped out a decent bit at the event. There we go, no more berserk, we're good. We are A-okay now, so let's go ahead and trade you your stuff back like this. I forget, were you gonna be the one that uses this? Or was I gonna give that to Roy? I was gonna give that to Claren, what I was gonna do. Pretty sure. Alright, let's have everyone meet up and go at it together here is what I'm thinking. And it had been a long time since it had gone on, and honestly, like, the night before it, whenever I have, like, a big thing coming up, I usually struggle to sleep. I struggled to sleep that night, and I had a nightmare that I was busy and I couldn't leave the house until, like, 12:30-ish, I believe it was. Yeah, no one has anything that they want to hit the wall with anyway. And I was like, oh no, they're not gonna be very happy with me. But then I got up at a decent hour, and it's like, oh, phew, disaster averted. It's about 2 in the morning that I was like half awake, half asleep. I look over at the time, and it's like, oh, thank goodness. There's no concern there. So, made it to the TaeKwonDo festival just fine. There was a lot of people that hadn't gone to it before, since it's the first time that it had gone on in so long. So got to share that experience with a lot of other students. I wasn't able to stick around for the whole event. Festival typically goes on for a decent length of time. I'm used to it going on from like 8 a.m. until like 4 p.m. And I had to leave around 4 p.m. We were behind schedule. It was going to go on for like another couple hours at that point. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Morning, Reggie Bump. How's it going? Yeah, this is going to be a long and tedious map. Because I had an aunt that was visiting from the next province over, and there was a family dinner that was going on while she was here visiting. So I was like, okay, I kind of gotta make it to that family dinner. So, didn't get the chance to stick around at festival longer. This is what happens when I try to play games actively while I'm telling stories and stuff. Just because, like, this is not gonna be a very interesting map otherwise anyway. It's kind of the case, I feel like. Let's see, I do kind of want to bring this squad over there, though. First heard aunt is aunt. Yeah, that's the way that I pronounce it. That's just kind of like a typical, like, Americans kind of pronunciation. America's pronunciation, I guess would be the term. Like, that's the way that we say it here in Canada, and the way that I've heard people say it in the States. That's just how it goes. Unless we want to use the speak of the great motherland colony, God bless the Queen. My aunt. Like, my aunt. I mentioned that to some of my fellow classmates that were there. Like, where I was just saying, like, hey, I can't stick around for too long because I gotta go have this family dinner with my aunt while she's here. And one of them gave me shit for saying that. Where it's like, your aunt? Was it a small aunt? Was it a big aunt? And it's like, okay, you know, we can acknowledge that there are multiple words where they're pronounced the same, but they have different meaning in different contexts in the English language. Like, that's just the way English is. Why are we honing in on, like, this one word specifically as, like, there's a correct way to do it and an incorrect way to do it? Like, why are there so many different ways? There are so many same ways to say completely different things. Like, there, and there, for example. But we're gonna hone in on the whole ant thing, so... yeah, I've gotten shit for that before, and I don't get it. It's gonna be awkward the time that I view anything involved with ants, knowing Americans rule Hollywood. What? No, they don't. That's why Trump had to put tariffs on movies, because you have the light brand. I don't think Solitaire is that much though. Because they're aggressively pushing in all their foreign movies and stuff like that. Yeah, I may as well feed this to Claren down there so that she gets some magic experience and stuff here. Yeah, sure, go ahead and do this, why not? In fact, maybe I shouldn't be pushing with that top squad. That top squad gains nothing. Just be pushing with squads like this, where they actually gain something out of it. Maybe what I should do. In fact, I'm turning off combat animations. This map seems boring as hell. Here, let's go ahead and do this. So yeah, I had to get out at a reasonable hour before it got too late. And so I told the head instructor of my school, like, hey, I gotta skedaddle and make it to this dinner. And he was like, oh, no worries, just head on out right now. So I headed on out, headed home, got my gaming stuff because we always play video games at family dinners and all that. This squad still has stuff to gain, so you're going to keep on moving here. So I guess it'd be better if someone else was gaining weapon level there. And as is the case after a lot of TaeKwonDo events, hell yeah! There's typically volunteer appreciation dinners afterwards, and it seems that the same held for festival. So the instructor let me know, like, well, if you don't get your fill at that family dinner, feel free to come by the the volunteer appreciation dinner afterwards. That was going to be at a Boston Pizza. And I appreciated the offer there, but, you know, I was there late playing video games and hanging out with family, so didn't end up going to that, but definitely appreciate him offering that. Here, bam. Hit it with that. An iron axe broke. No. Yeah, was a good time. I posted some of the videos in the Discord server of some of the events that I did. So a couple of the fun events going on there. Actually, a discussion about the difference between what's essentially the same language, and they mentioned that there's enough difference in US English to UK English that they could change it to their own language. Really? Like, I know that there's a lot of different pronunciation and different dialects and stuff like that, and there are some forms of English in Europe, not even just necessarily in the UK, but just like in some areas of Europe in general, where it's like, what? What do you say? Or like German, for example, where I have my Sprachdiplom in German, so like I grew up with a language, I'm very proficient with it. I wouldn't say that I'm bilingual with it. I think if I lived like in Germany for a year, I'd probably become bilingual, but I'm very proficient with German. But there are some dialects of it that I hear, I'm just like, what? What? Like, there are certain regions of Germany where the dialect is so completely different that I genuinely have like a really hard time understanding it. Most dialects I don't, but there are some that I do when it comes to German. So with the TaeKwonDo festival, essentially it was done at a military-based training facility, just as like a big space that we could use. So here is the space here, and this competition category was for flying sidekick. So you essentially have like this little marker. It's there in the clip. Wow, a little loud there. A little marker that's put down, and you have to jump before that. You can see me over there getting ready to do that. And in TaeKwonDo Festival, you are put into groups for competition. Like, you're not doing like a tournament against like everyone in the facility. You're put into small groups of anywhere from like 2 to maybe 5 at most. So like within your group, you'll get medals that are like gold, silver, bronze, and then bronze again for 4th place. That's basically participation. Where was my, did I put it in here? Yeah, I did. Flying sidekick was the category that I was able to get a gold in. Wow, that's so impressive. Traditional festival. I'm so good. This was a really shitty win. I was up against one other person, and they got disqualified on their very first go because they stepped on this on like the very first real attempt. So they were immediately disqualified, and they were just like, oh, well, I guess you win then. We'll let you do 1-1 for fun. So yeah, definitely not real gold there. Imagine, if only. If only it was just golden. So they let me do like 1 for fun one, and that was it. So I didn't actually get to compete in this category. I got like 1 go for fun, and I didn't actually get to like push myself and see how far I could go. Because that's the fun part about festival, is like continuing to push yourself, going farther and farther, and like encouraging the people that you're competing against, like, oh, it's so much farther now, come on, you can do it, patting one another on the back and stuff like that. That's what I think it's all about. So I missed out on that in this. Yeah, I mean, what am I saying? I'm a winner, best in the world. That's what's going on here. So I have no idea what my maximum distance with this is. I just got to do like A1 for fun. Like, I could push it farther than that, but you know, we were pretty done there. Also, unrelated, this guy right here, probably gonna be playing some Elden Ring Night Rain with him soon. So he'll probably be hearing a little bit of him on the channel. Maybe I can convince him to come to Mega Land. I did get to push myself with jump front snap kick though. So for jump front snap kick for height, they have this machine that has like this ball hanging, where every time everyone in the group is able to hit it, they make it a little bit higher, and so on and so forth until there's just 1 person remaining. I was in a group of 3 there. I got bronze, even though I'm pretty sure I was the tallest person in the group. I do really need to get like back into training and back into shape. The person who got gold in that category, this dude right here, I'm 6'2". I'm taller than him by like a head height. His head is up to like my shoulder. So I was telling him before we started, he's one of the main instructors of the school that I attend. I was telling him, look, I know that you've got more skill on me, but I have more height than you, so which is gonna be the thing that decides it? Skill decide. He kicked my ass in this. He was able to get this height and continue pushing like even farther than that. So like, you know, he was fully raring to go and get that height. So he was able to do really well there, and he had a really impressive catfall at the TaeKwonDo festival as well, which is where it's just like build up an obstacle higher and higher and higher and diving over that way like head first until, you know, there's just 1 person left that can do a particular height. He was going like above like his height that he was jumping over. And he was very quite proud of that. I was chatting with fellow students at the dojang about that not too long after. So yeah, that was as high as I could get. Like, was just under that. That was the point where it's like I couldn't get any higher. So there was definitely some fun stuff to be had with festival there, but I definitely would have been able to give him a little bit more competition, like back in pre-COVID days when I was doing things a lot more actively, and so when I was 19, back when, I would have been able to give him a lot more of a run for his money. But I did what I could there, and it was a fun time. But yeah, Dojanga? Hawa? If you're asking about how Dojang is spelled there, it's B without the A. But yeah, so you got it the same way Homer won to go to the moon, where everyone else is just disqualified. I haven't seen that with The Simpsons, so I wouldn't know. I've not seen that episode. Oh, here they come. So yeah, that was TaeKwonDo Festival. And another thing that's going on is an event called the Breakathon. That one, while I don't think I've ever actually shown it on the channel, that one is actually connected to the channel, like, in a pretty key way. That's kind of the thing that got me starting doing 24-hour charity streams. So the Breakathon used to go on every June, and it's a big fundraiser that the school does for Larch, which is a not-for-profit that helps those with developmental disabilities. You know, the one that I've been fundraising for here since, like, 2019, or whenever I started doing that around here, where the master of our dojang believes very much in the importance of giving back to the community. And so we have the Breakathon event where everyone that participates in that goes out and fundraises in their own way, whether it's asking family and friends, like if people want to go door to door, open a lemonade stand, whatever you want to do, just go out and fundraise in your own way. And then we all come for the Breakathon event, and you get to break boards that based on the amount of like money you fundraise. So it's like it's like every 20 bucks or something like that, they give you like a board to break. Not like actual hard thick boards, but like really thin demo boards where it's like you could snap them just like that, because it's meant to be like a for fun event where it's like you're breaking boards for fun and having a good time and not, you know, trying to break down something that's actually really, really hard to break down. So you get to try out the techniques that you want to have fun with and stuff like that is the idea. And then those from Larch come to the event as well and are given a check from the Dojang, and a lot of people from Larch are given the opportunity to break boards as well, where the master will go up and he'll hold boards for them and let them choose how they want to break it and let them break boards, and it's just a really wholesome, fun event that everyone really enjoys. But that's another thing that hasn't gone on since COVID. 2019 was the last time. Yeah, that's one of their most iconic. I might have over-exaggerated a bit as well. All he did was go to space. True, it's no big deal after all. Here, go ahead and break the thing here. A fire broke, no. But yeah, I have not seen that one. I've not seen enough Simpsons here. So, in 2019, was that my first one? My 24-hour cherry stream one. I'm pretty sure that was 2019. I can find on my channel really quickly. Wow, the crit there. If I go to charity events and special events here, the first one I did was May 2019. Yep, for Larch. So, I had always participated in the Breakathon and, you know, fundraised by going around fundraising and stuff. Words are hard. Let's keep on going this way, maybe. But at that point, since I had... He's probably gonna miss. Okay. Since I had my channel at that point, I was like, hey, I've heard of content creators doing a 24-hour cherry stream before. I've never tried doing that myself, but, you know, that sounds kind of interesting. Maybe I should give it a go. And I did the very first 24-hour cherry stream the channel's ever seen, which was a very different format than my 24-hour cherry streams take today. Like, I was very new to it and just like, hey, let's do a little bit of whatever constantly, and people can choose to fill like 1 hour time slots with whatever game, and you know, I had very weird formatting like that. But I had fun with it, and with that event we actually raised like a decent bit of money. And I remember, like, after I turned in the envelope to the Dojang with the money that I had fundraised, there was a time that the receptionist has told me, like, you know, Jake, you raised the most in the Dojang by far. And I was like, oh, really? She gave me all these tickets for the Breakathon. I was like, holy shit. Like, I couldn't use all of them. I ended up giving away, like, some of my tickets to other people to use. That's what ended up happening there. Here, sure, let's do that. I don't know. Is what we'll do. So, the very first 24-hour cherry stream that went on around here, I was able to turn that into the Dojang and do, like, this charity event essentially through my TaeKwonDo Dojang. I was already fundraising for Larch, like, before I started content creation, so why not incorporate content creation into that and fundraise that way? Is what I figured. But then the following year, 2020, COVID started, and there was no more Breakathon going on anymore. And I was like, well, I could just not do my 24-hour cherry stream, but I figure, like, maybe this is an especially important time to do so, considering this Breakathon event that would usually go on that would give Larch, like, you know, a big injection there at this time of year is now suddenly missing. So I know that I'm nowhere near a big enough content creator where I'd be able to fundraise anything even comparable to, like, what my Dojang as a whole would be able to fundraise. But I still wanted to be able to contribute in my own way and, like, follow my master's lead in the importance of giving back to the community and all that. So I continued to do 24-hour charity streams, like, just on my own. And then later I heard about Extra Life, and I decided to get involved with them, and then I started doing 2 24-hour charity streams each year. One for Larch that my Dojang kind of got me started to do, and then the other for the Starlight Children's Hospital through Extra Life, since that was another gaming-related event there, and I was like, hey, another excuse to do a 24-hour charity stream. And then later I found out it was a LAN event as well, and then it's another LAN that I can attend, which is like, hell yeah. Very involved with both of those. But the Dojang hasn't done their Breakathon for quite a while. So many adventures during 24-hour streams, harm eating weird sweets, constant banning of words, the court case of pinball. I don't want to do something like that ever again. Like, I knew it was going to be brutal on me, but, like, holy crap, I was not anticipating what it ended up turning out as. Like, my god. The 24-hour cherry stream 11, the most recent one that was done. Yeah. Wow. Quite the experience that was, I'll say. But yeah, so there have been a lot of 24-hour cherry streams that have happened since then. Like, we're at 11 at this point. The next one that I do is gonna be 12. I don't know what I'm gonna do for it yet. I haven't brainstormed sufficient ideas. So I'm not sure yet what it's gonna look like. Maybe I should open up the polls channel and ask, like, hey, what do you want to see for the 24-hour cherry stream 12? So I've done a lot of 24-hour cherry streams since then. Since May 2019, I've done an additional 10 24-hour cherry streams after that. Half being for Larch and half being for the Stoller Children's Hospital. And we also did, like, a non-24-hour event. We did a tournament event for the Canadian Celiac Association at one point as well. So that's another charity event that went on around here outside of the 24-hour ones. And it seemed like Larch very much appreciated the extra help in... Oh, yeah, I was gonna not do anything with that. The extra help in that time. And, when you go to donate on their page, I don't remember if it's the case anymore, but I believe at the time, one of the drop-down options that you could select was, like, my TaeKwonDo Dojang that this is coming from. And I'd selected that and donated a whole bunch, and Larch had reached out to me being like, wait, are you, like, affiliated with the Dojang there? And I had said, like, well, I'm a student there, like, I don't necessarily represent them as an organization directly, but, like, I am a student there, and this was a situation where, you know, I felt inspired to keep on doing this even when the breakathon wasn't going on, and they seemed to really appreciate that. I actually got invited to Larch's 50th anniversary event that they did a couple of years ago, something like that, a year or two ago, and I was surprised that I didn't see anyone from the Dojang there. I didn't see my master or the head instructor, so I guess they couldn't make it. So I was essentially like the biggest representative of the Dojang at that event. So there was a lot of people that were asking me about the Dojang, and I was like, hey, well, I can tell you like what I can as a student, but you know, I shouldn't be answering questions like I'm, you know, representative of, you know, the Dojang and the breakathon and stuff like that. Because I am not exactly, I'm just kind of an individual here. But it was really cool to be able to go to that event and be a part of that. Maybe I'll just end turn here in a sec is what I'll do. Or I'll do this really quickly first. And so I've kept on doing it. Even despite the breakathon not going on, I've continued to fundraise for them in my own way since it's a charity that my master believes in. But after pinball's typically cards, no, I'm not encouraging you to dig deeper into gambling. Yeah, time to play Pokemon TCG for 24 hours. Totally not go insane. But now the breakathon is going on again. It's in June. I think it's later June. I wrote the date down on my phone. So I know I have to do the 24-hour cherry stream this year sometime before then. Let's see here. June 28th is the breakathon, which would be a Saturday, I believe. Let's see here. Yeah, it's literally the last Saturday of the month. So I have time. And for a long time, I was doing my 24-hour cherry streams in May. And I do generally like doing them in May, because then my 24-hour cherry streams are perfectly 6 months apart from May to November. But now that I've started going to LAN events in May with the Mega LAN event with Mega FPS, that is already like one big significant event going on in the month of May that kind of keeps me busy. And it's hard to find time for doing a 24-hour cherry stream, especially when May is kind of the time of year when I'm going ham on planting a bunch of things, since now Risk of Frost has gone away and now it's time for stuff to go into the ground and sort out everything for the spring in the garden. I end up getting really busy in May. So, do I wanna... Here, sure. Why not? So, it's sometimes hard to fit in a 24-hour cherry stream this month, especially with me doing the whole, like, Mega FPS LAN events now that I'm doing. And do I really want to be doing 2 events in the same month? I mean, I guess I technically already was last year with HalloLAN and Extra Life that were both in November. HalloLAN's actually in October this year. It's actually before Halloween. It'll still be just like a couple weeks away from the Extra Life event, so it's still pretty close proximity, technically, but anyway. This week I figured that Mega LAN was this coming up weekend, and, you know, this past weekend I was out at the lake cabin sorting out everything for the spring. I was busy these previous weekends, and I was just like, yeah, there's no way that I'm cramming in a 24-hour cherry stream before that point. Now I know that Mega LAN is the following weekend, and I could potentially do a 24-hour cherry stream this coming weekend. But I think that's too short of notice, and I'm still kind of busy, like, planting a bunch of things in the ground, and I'm not exactly confident in being able to cram that in realistically. But in June, I don't really have anything going on. I tried to reach out to GameCon and get involved with them as a streamer, but they have just completely ghosted me in my repeated attempts to reach them from January until today, so I have a feeling that that isn't panning out. Little mini vent about that. I reached out in January, didn't get on their contact form, didn't get a response. Reached out in February on their Discord server. I was just told, like, oh yeah, just, you know, wait to get a response on, like, the official contact form. Waited longer, and so it was either, like, late March or early April that I reached out on their contact form again, just in case, like, it was missed when I reached out to them before. Still no response. Then I reached out a few weeks ago in the Discord again, to which the response by one of the moderators was, ooh, it's a little bit late to be doing that now. You should try reaching out in January. Oh, why didn't I think of doing that, huh? And they clearly didn't read the message of me saying that I had already reached out in January. And, you know, was chatting with a couple people in the inquiries channel there a little bit. And one of the admins of the server actually reached out and was like, hey, like, what's going on here? It seems to be an inquiry regarding the stream team. Reach out to me at this email and I'll dig into it and see, like, what I can figure out. So I reached out to him at that email and I never got a response. This was like a week ago. No, it was like a week ago before I headed out of town last week. It's been a week and a half to 2 weeks now, something like that. So, yeah, even though there is a group of streamers at GameCon, that game at that event, I don't think that is panning out because I don't hear from them. Is the thing. I try to. I definitely wouldn't mind if they reached out and were just like, hey, we don't think this is a right fit, or we're looking for these kinds of content creators, or whatever the heck. But it sucks to just hear nothing and just feel like I'm not even worth a response. So yeah, there would otherwise be GameCon going on in June for a potential other event, but I don't think that's necessarily panning out. Since they don't seem to have any interest in talking with me whatsoever. So, you know, that's fun. So, as far as is expected to be the case, I wouldn't have any other event going on in June anyway. So I think it makes sense to be doing this 24-hour cherry stream in June. I don't know, we'll go this way. And as long as I'm doing it before the breakathon, I'm pretty good here. So I don't actually know what I'm gonna do for the next 24-hour cherry stream yet. And I don't know when it's going to be. But I have some time to figure this out. Meh. Like, I wouldn't mind doing another thing where it's like kind of a central theme that I follow, not something like pinball again, or at least like one main game that I go through. The 24-hour cherry stream 10, I had done Pokemon X and Y start to finish with a randomizer. Part of me had thought like, oh, maybe for the next one that means that I should do Auras on a randomizer, and then I cover both the main Mega Evolution games before Pokemon Legends ZA comes out. You know, that could be kind of fitting if people will be interested in seeing like a Auras randomizer. I don't know. I don't know what other ideas could potentially be. I was looking through my games that I was planning on covering for like sometime this year anyway, but nothing really stands out as something that would be like really good as like a charity kind of thing, I don't think. Here, just go ahead and do this. Cool. So not entirely sure what to do. Like, I could always put it to a poll and figure it out. Something or other here. But we shall see. We shall see what ends up happening. Poke poke. Get that experience there. Gates? Oh, that's a good potential question there. How long is Gates anyway? How long to beat Pokemon Mystery Dungeon? Gates to Infinity. Let's see here. Takes an estimated 20 to 30 hours to beat the main story of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Gates to Infinity. The actual how long to beat page says about 23 hours. Wow, it's about the perfect length. If I really just want to bum rush Gates, and then I have like all the Mystery Dungeon games play on the chat. That's not a bad idea. So right now, I think probably like the best ideas are Auras and Gates. one of the games that I was planning on doing this year anyway was Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, and that thought went through my mind. But if it's anything like Coliseum, where it's just like battle after battle after battle after battle after battle endlessly, I'm gonna get bored out of my mind, and it's gonna be pinball all over again. And I don't really want that, quite frankly. So, yeah. We'll do the Mega Land event this month, and then next month will be the 24-hour Cherry Stream 12, which, for the first time since the very first 24-hour Cherry Stream, instead of donating directly to Larch, I'll be going through my TaeKwonDo Dojang as part of the Breakathon event. Which will be kinda cool to have that going on again and all that. I don't know. Send some of the squad this way. Wait, but I want a different healer over this way. Whatever. I don't know, man. So that's another big thing that's going on with TaeKwonDo. I completely forgot about that side, I'm gonna be honest with you. Oh yeah, and there's that. Okay, well that works out great. So there's some cool new stuff going on with TaeKwonDo there. Another surprise with TaeKwonDo that started up recently is, I've been training in TaeKwonDo with my cousin's younger kid for a while now. But I wasn't sure if it would ever pan out that I would be training with, like, both the kiddos one day. Like, maybe it would happen, maybe it wouldn't, I wasn't entirely sure. Well, now not only is that the case, but I'm also training in TaeKwonDo with my cousin himself, that I honestly would never have expected to see in something like that. But I'm very glad to have him there and be seeking this, self-improvement and stuff like that, and it's interesting that I now essentially... What? Oh, the wall. We now have, like, a group of 4 of family that are all training collectively in TaeKwonDo classes. That is something that I never thought I'd see. So we have quite the squad in class now. I don't know, I'll bust through there in a second here. Or something or other. So, that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. Anything better than watching Harmonia play Fire Emblem at 2 a.m.? There sure isn't. While I ramble about all sorts of other stuff going on in life here. Before I completely mess everything up. Let's do this. Why are you training? Aren't you already the Usain Bolt of TaeKwonDo? Oh, I sure am. Watching at 9 a.m. Very different time zone there. Yeah, I think it was late last year. The time is blurring together, I swear. I managed to reach 3rd degree black belt, which is the rank that my TaeKwonDo instructor was when I first started training. Nowadays, he's 4th degree black belt. But, like, it's still really cool to think that I'm at the rank that, like, the head instructor of the school was when I first started training. Like, it is a significant rank. I think in terms of 3rd degree black belts that are still, like, actively going to the school, there's currently 3 of us, and that's it. Hopefully we'll get some more soon. The Dudo that I was pointing out that I said was one of the main instructors that I might be playing Night Rain with here soon. Hopefully he'll reach his 3rd degree here one of these days. He has a couple testings to go before that, but he'll absolutely reach it eventually. It's really not a matter of if, but a matter of when. I get it, you can kick my ass. So, like, I am at a rank that a lot of people would say, like, oh yeah, that is, you know, that's pretty far, that's one of the seniors of the school, like, you can consider that, you know, things could be done here. Do you really want to continue with this? But I feel just, like, better while I'm training. Like, during my times that I was so busy with university or COVID had the Dojang shut down, and I was just, like, sitting around here, lazing around, not up to any physical activity, I just kind of felt like shit. Like, maybe it's because I'm used to, like, regularly exercising. Before COVID, I was training in classes 3 times a week. Like, I was going there very regularly. During COVID and during university, I was going, like, once, maybe twice a week. As of this year, easing back into it, I started at once. Now I'm going twice. Maybe I'll start going 3 times again one of these days. But I'm kind of working up to that and getting back into shape here. But speaking of, another thing to mention about Festival was I had asked the instructor if I should participate in sparring. And he said, well, you could, but you'd be going up against other 3rd degree black belts who've been continuing their training. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I was kind of picking up what he was putting down with that. But then at the actual tournament festival there was just a small handful of third degrees that were actually sparring, and one of them from the other school said that that was his first time training was at festival in 2 years. I was like, oh crap, he hadn't done anything in 2 years and he was still doing sparring. Like, he didn't have any excuse. Why should I have had an excuse? So I maybe really wish that I decided to spar after all, but alas. Anyway, I've been very much trying to get back into it because I just feel generally a lot better. Yeah, but he was John Wick, true. He did seem pretty impressive. Those sparring matches were pretty cool to watch. More reason why I felt like I should have participated. I feel like I would have gotten my ass whooped in those sparring matches. That's why I would want to participate. I love going up against those that I know are clearly, like, better than me. It gives me a chance to improve. So I very much like that kind of thing. Nothing wrong with getting your ass whooped. You learn stuff. Yeah, and that's made me think like, man, I should have totally participated in that. It would have been awesome. So, you know, I kind of missed out there. Next year I'll definitely do sparring. But yeah, I'm not quite at the point that I used to be. My peak in TaeKwonDo would have definitely been when I was 19 years old and pre-COVID and going to classes like 3 times a week, training so actively there. Like, I'm not quite there yet. And I honestly don't know if I'll ever be at that exact point again, just considering, like, you know, in your teenage to, like, late teens, very early 20s is where it's like, yeah, things are gonna be, like, easy peasy and getting easier as you age. But now that I'm, like, 26 and getting older, it's like, okay, physically, this is just gonna be getting harder. And I mean, I do feel it with my, with some of my joint issues, with the, damn it! With my, wrist issues, but mostly my hip issues, mostly with my right hip. I have been starting to feel that a decent bit in training again. I was once stuck in physiotherapy for about half a year dealing with that. I never quite completely went away. Here, let's go ahead and dance here. So I do deal with a decent bit of physical issues here, and there's a decent amount of times in class where I need to step away and just like stretch out my hip here because I've gotten my hip flaring up in pain that I don't feel like I can be continuing training as is until that's worked out. And like, my physical condition is not quite what it used to be, but I would still like to continue to improve and get closer to where I was at before in terms of technical ability. And it just feels good to be able to know that, like, my body can do what I need it to do. Because when I'm just sitting around here doing nothing, it doesn't feel good. Like, I am not the kind of person that can motivate myself to work out on my own. If I wasn't doing something like TaeKwonDo, oh my god, I gotta stop putting Roy into, like, sensitive positions there. If I wasn't doing something like TaeKwonDo, I would not be physically active at all. I would be freaking limp noodle here that couldn't lift a rock. Like, I wouldn't be able to do anything. Because I just don't see myself as someone that would be able to have, like, the motivation to be able to work out. But with the class format, I have the motivation because I'm doing it in, like, a group environment. So, like, you're pushing yourself and you see other people pushing themselves, and that inspires you to continue pushing yourself, and they're, like, trying to encourage you to push yourself, and, like, you're suffering, you're struggling, going through, like, all this, like, really hard stuff, but you're doing it together, and you help, like, inspire one another together to continue to push one another. Like, here's a good example in our most recent classes last week, where we are doing all these, like, hardcore exercises, and, like, hardcore exercises, not hardcore exercises, and right when the instructor leads us on to believe that we're gonna get to sit down, he's like, alright, everybody sit down against the wall, we're doing wall sit, and everyone is like, oh, whoa, crap. And he says to, like, pair up in a partner, like, you go into wall sit, look over at your partner, and start playing rock, paper, scissors. Whoever wins gets to go up a little bit, making an exercise easier. Whoever loses has to go down a little bit, making the exercise harder. And you just kind of, like, collectively struggle and laugh and, you know, struggle to really say anything between, like, your grunts of pain of, ah, this hurts. But it's great, you know? That's the kind of thing that I like. I've been trying to motivate myself to at least do, like, stretches on my own time, because I feel like my flexibility could definitely use some improvement. But, like, on my own, I very, very much struggle with the motivation to, like, actually get out there and push myself. Like, it's hard to hold myself accountable when I'm not in that kind of environment. Like, I don't know, I can hold myself accountable, but it's more like when I'm actually doing it, I can hold myself accountable to like push myself and continue trying to improve myself. But it's more about getting the motivation to actually do it in the first place is what I definitely struggle with. So I have been trying to start doing stretching on my own time, make it like a regular habit before I go to bed, like just get some stretching in and continue to improve my flexibility, because just stretching like a couple times a week is not going to improve my flexibility. I better hold myself accountable to do it on my own time. But like if I wasn't doing TaeKwonDo and I had to ask myself if I had the motivation to like go to a gym and like take my own time to work out, I wouldn't. There's no shot. So I very much do enjoy continuing to go and train and continue to improve myself, you know. Oh my god, well, there's a crit. Cool. Whole bunch of EXP. Here, I'll get what I can still with the rest of this map. So, even if I am at a point where it's like, hey, this is like one of the senior belts of the school and has made it pretty far and stuff like that, it's not necessarily about climbing the ranks as much anymore. I mean, as much as I would love to reach 4th degree black belt one day, I think that would be like a major life achievement. I do still want to continue going to continue to improve myself, and now also by proxy help, like I was saying before, that I go because it kind of helps give me motivation to hold myself accountable for self-improvement, because everyone kind of collectively gives one another motivation with that group environment. Now another reason why I really want to keep on going and pushing myself is because of my family there, my cousin and both his kids. So by being there and being like one of the senior belts of the school and a role model and all that, I want to continue being able to help them on like their own journeys of improvement and be able to help out with their training and stuff like that, you know? So I do feel like my skills definitely pale to what the average 3rd degree black belt would be at. I feel like compared to what an average 3rd degree black belt would be at, my skills are probably pretty lackluster. Like, if you look compared to just, like, you know, any black belt in general, it's like, okay, yeah, that's pretty impressive, that's pretty alrighty, but, you know, if you compare it to others that are, like, actually in my rank, even at festivals, something like that, I'm gonna get absolutely thwomped by anyone else that's my rank. Like, I go up against skill-based matchmaking there, and I'm gonna get my ass handed to me. But, I don't even know where I'm going with this train of thought anymore. I think that it's an important field to pursue, and I enjoy continuing to seek out this self-improvement, stuff like that. My TaeKwonDo is something very important to me. Here, go ahead and poke, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, surpass your peaks. That's the objective. Absolutely. Continue to improve yourself, surpass your peaks, all that stuff. Here, poke, poke. I had no skills to lose in 2020 outside, so they went 4 in my mind. Oh, what? Until you're the rock, paper, scissors king and go so high up, you're suddenly jumping. Yeah, until that happens. I gotta get practice in at the Fragapalooza rock, paper, scissors tournaments. Alright, these are the last couple of guys here. Yeah. You must become one with the rock, the paper, and the scissors. Ah, yes. That is what I must do here. I think I have the biological equipment to become one with the scissors. Not just gonna become Edward Scissorhands or anything. Okay, poke. Poke. Just learn the language to be them. Be strong and still like rock. Fast and light like paper. Tricky and sharp like scissors. A lesser would say those conditions contradict each other and are impossible, but the master can perform them all. Become the avatar. Master all 3 rock, paper, scissors techniques. Only the avatar can master them all. Alright, well. Hey, like, I might not even finish off my supports in this go, is what the really sucky part is. Might not even do so. So, yeah, I find it to be something very important to me personally, and, yeah. I don't know why I was checking you for something to steal when I didn't even bring Chad here. It's something that I've been doing since I was 4. Some of my classmates have asked me before if I'm, like, the student that's been training there the longest that's still attending. And the honest answer might be yes. I hadn't even considered that until, like, one of them had asked me that. I was like, you know, that might actually be the case. Like, I've been there a long time. 22 years now, if I started when I was 4. So, I have been training there a long, long time. And I don't really know what my life is like without it, outside of, like, times where I wasn't training super actively during COVID and university and stuff like that. So it's something very important to me. I have so much gratitude to the head instructor and the master of the dojang. It's a family-run business, so the head instructor of the dojang is the master's son. Like, they are such a nice family. If it wasn't already evident by their belief in, like, giving back to the community and running charity events and stuff like that. So when my schedule was, like, very on and off during COVID, the head instructor had told me, like, well, you know what, then, like, don't worry, you're one of our longest time students, don't worry about payment for now. Just come and train when you have time and you feel like training on, like, any one of the available adult classes. And, like, I was very, very grateful for that, so I wasn't paying for my classes there for a long time, and he said, like, when you're ready to settle into a schedule again, then we can talk. And, there were times that I thought I was ready to settle into a schedule, but I wasn't quite really. But anytime that I would bring it up to him, I would say, like, hey, I want to go back to paying for classes, and he would ask me why. I said, like, well, because I feel like I'm taking advantage of your kindness here by continuing to not pay for classes for so long. He would tell me, like, well, you know, Jake, I don't feel taken advantage of here, so you shouldn't feel like you're taking advantage of me. It's really no worries. Just feel free to keep on coming in and training and stuff like that. Like, my goodness, I'm still not paying for my classes to this day. I want to get a job, like, I'm still on a job hunt here. It sounds like some things might be opening up with the Alberta Gaming and Liquor Commission next month, potentially, that I'll be looking into. That could be something nice to pursue, a government position. But the moment that I get a job, I want to pay for my classes. Like, up until I was 19 and, you know, COVID started and, you know, that whole mess there, my parents are always the ones paying for my classes. Nowadays, as an adult, yes, I should be paying for my classes. But, like, I'm not making income outside of this channel. And that doesn't really cover it, you know? So, I want to get a job, and then I want to be able to proudly walk through those doors. My brain wanted to say into those doors, but, like, that isn't how words work. And say, hey, I want to go back to paying for classes, and when he asks me why, I'll say, like, because I want to. Like, I told him before during previous times that, like, hey, you know, I know that there's costs here running the dojang and all of that. Like, it feels kind of unfair that I'm training for free, and, like, I don't want to keep on doing that, taking advantage of this kindness, but he always insists to me that it's really no worries and that I shouldn't feel bad and stuff like that. But once I'm actually earning income myself, I do want to be able to, like, go back to paying for my classes. Because the dojang that I'm training in, for a long time, this family-run business was just in just a space in a parking lot mall, strip mall kind of area there that they used. And then the business grew and they eventually built their own location. So they have, like, a large dedicated building and, like, their own property and stuff like that. Which I can imagine probably wasn't exactly cheap. If I had to guess, I would imagine that they were probably still paying that off. And, you know, I want to do what I can to help out. Like, I very much owe that family a lot. And I very much want to express that appreciation. And that's kind of another reason why I want to continue going there and training and, you know, being one of the senior belts and a role model and stuff there and doing what I can to help out. Like, they've very much done a lot for me there. Like, here's an example. In high school, when we were doing, I think it was called the Bike-a-thon? Something like that? A big charity event where you keep, like, a elliptical bike pedaling for 24 hours, something like that, in the gym space of the school. And you can set up with your group however you want in your space. Kind of like a LAN event, you could say. And because it's just like a hard gym floor otherwise, I asked the head instructor, like, hey, can I borrow some of, like, the mats from the storage room and use them for that event? He was like, sure, go ahead. Like, just bring them back after. Like, if there's something that I need from them, they're like, yeah, sure, go ahead. It's what it's typically like, and I very, very much appreciate that. I would like to grind out some more support. I'm surprised that I haven't seen the prompt for conversation here, but, like, I know that takes a lot of points from B to A and stuff like that. I know that we just got B, so, I mean, is there any heals that needed to go around here? So, you know, very much a debt of gratitude that I owe them, and I very much want to stick with them and continue to support them and stuff like that. Very much a part of my life, and yeah, I'm very, very grateful to them and stuff. But yeah, let's see here. Let's see. Rock, paper, scissors is only for the truly strong of mind and will. Chess has nothing on rock, paper, scissors. True. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I literally just saved there, but here, do that there. This channel's enough to cover a 6-pack of Coca-Cola every week. Maybe. I can tell you how much this channel is. When I said this channel, I was referring more so to like Twitch and YouTube together. YouTube will cover more than that. Like it has not made a significant amount in like 2 years because I haven't had a video essay pop off in about 2 years, but it makes a decent little bit. Here on Twitch, I can tell you what I got here. This isn't gonna show any sensitive information, is it? Doesn't look like it does. It looks like the amount of revenue that I can get out of Twitch here for, I guess, this next payment coming up is $33.21 is what I'm at right now. And I guess when I get to like the $50 mark, they'll then pay me out at like the next payment period and stuff there. Is what it'll be. Yeah, they very much are. And I very much want to have a video essay that pops off again because I like to have monies when I'm trying to like search for a job and save up for a down payment on a house and I'm a 26-year-old still living at home. Money is helpful, you know? So, and just growing the channel and stuff like that is cool. And as the channel gets bigger, then there's like more contribution that the 24-hour charity events can make. I can make like a bigger impact through that. So that also feels good when like more people are brought in and participating and stuff like that. So I like growing the channel too. It's not just monies, obviously, but monies is nice, especially at this point in life. Quote Spooderman, wealth and fame he's ignored. Action is his reward. It's not about the money, it's about the community. Absolutely. Gotta go quickly, BRB. Well, you missed me saying that part of it is about the money. But like, at this point, I don't, hold on. No, this is a nightmare. How did you get through those walls? I don't know, man. At this point, like, I've tried to continue to have video essays that would pop off. All of my Pokemon ones popped off, so I would make ones like the Scarlet and Violet DLC video essay. That didn't go much of anywhere. I made that one on Xenoblade 3 that I was really passionate about. That didn't go much of anywhere. Any of my other video essays outside the Pokemon ones, the only one that's really popped off has been the Roller Coaster Tycoon one. I really don't know what the rhyme or reason is between, like, the things that pop off and don't. So, like, I've kind of given up on this point, on having any expectations of anything popping off. At this point, I feel like I've just kind of accepted that I'm at the whims of the algorithm, and just whatever happens, happens. Like, pretty much. It's not just about the money, but money is nice. Yeah, exactly. In us, you may pass, but you will know Burn's true power soon. Yeah, next stream, you'll know Burn's true power. Get a level up. What's it look like, huh? Ooh, that's pretty good. So at this point, I have very much given up on having like any expectations of, you know, things popping off. Like, if they do, great, but if not, then whatever. Like, I already know that this is not something that... This doesn't seem like something that would pan out as something that would be able to realistically support me in a meaningful way. Just be like a little bit of side income on the side that helps pay for the games that I want to play, is what it basically is at this point. So... like, I'll continue making video essays and stuff from time to time, but no longer with, like, any expectation of, like, this is gonna pop off. At this point, it's just like, freaking fuck it. Like, it's whatever happens. I'm at the whims of the algorithm. If stuff pops off, great, I wouldn't mind, but I'm not expecting it to, and most likely it is not going to. So, like, this video essay that I'll put out with the launch of the Switch 2 that I've been working on, it'd be cool if that went somewhere, like maybe because the Switch 2 will be trending as it just released, then maybe the algorithm will be like, hey, this is a trending thing, I should be pushing this, and, you know, I'll be able to strike while the iron's hot. Or maybe just that won't happen at all, and or maybe everyone else and their mother will get the same idea and be putting out videos at the same time, and mine won't go anywhere, and, like, it's whatever happens, I guess. So, you know, this channel doesn't really do much for me job-wise in the sense of, like, being able to support me in, like, a large, meaningful way. So, you know, continuing to turn in job applications all over the place and find what I can, because this is not going to realistically cut it. Coming for the Bug Diamond and shipped early Pearl video essay, glad that one popped off. Yeah, that one was a lot of fun to make, and I think that's probably one of my most viewed videos nowadays. I don't know whether that one or the first Pokemon essay that I made is my most viewed one, but those are the two that like really popped off and got over 1 million views. I think the Roller Coaster Tycoon one, was it over 500,000 or was it over 1 million? I think it was over 500,000. Maybe it was close to 1 mil as well. I don't remember. But those are the three that really popped off, and those like really suck quality-wise compared to what I can put out today. I'm honestly surprised that the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet one wasn't able to pop off more, and I was kind of surprised that the Scarlet and Violet DLC one just, you know, kind of had like, you know, the little whimper and die. Essentially, you know, still way more views than like my average video, but just compared to like any other Pokemon video essay. Or even something like the Pokemon Legends Arceus video essay. You go like, Pokemon essay, 1 million views. Pokemon essay, 1 million views. Pokemon essay with Legends Arceus, 300,000 views. Pokemon essay with Scarlet and Violet, about 250,000-ish, something like that. Pokemon essay with, like, the Scarlet and Violet DLC, what, that got, like, 6,000 views, something like that? Like, what is the reason behind it? And, like, I try to link my video essays in the description of those other videos so that, like, if anyone does like them, they can quickly find that video essay playlist and find the other things. Like, I would have hoped that if there's 1 million views on something, that more people would be like, huh, this is an interesting video essay on this game. I wonder what the video essays on the other games are like. But that doesn't really seem to be much of a thing. So, you know, that's some of my internal thoughts that I've had on the whole actual efforts that I've had in terms of trying to make things that pop off. But, you know, it worked well for like the twofer of Pokemon essays, and then it dwindled down and down and down and down to where it is right now, where it's like, if I make another Pokemon essay, I really don't think that it would be any more likely to pop off than like any other video essay that I could potentially make at this point. It's what it's begun to feel like. But yeah, God, I feel that sending out so many job applications, yeah. Just check the Roller Coaster Tycoon one has, oh, okay, 1 mil and 3,000 views. It just hit 1 mil. Okay, cool. That's 3 videos on the channel that are 1 mil views. Cool. I knew that it was either getting close to 0.5 mil or a full mil. I forget which one it was, but, you know, now clearly I remember which it was. That's pretty cool. And, like, that, not to say that that isn't something that I'd be proud of as I'm doing all this rambling about, like, man, what can I even do that pops off? Like, what's the rhyme or reason? How does it work? Like, I am absolutely proud of putting out content that, like, people found to be good enough that it's viewed 1 million times, you know? Like, that is absolutely something to be proud of. At the same time, there is, like, a small part of me that is a little bit unhappy with it because I look at the quality that I put out today and it's like, the quality I put out today is so much better. The stuff I made with those videos was such crap. There's so many mistakes and editing things and quality stuff that I would change, that I would do differently. These lessons I've learned and I apply today. So, like, part of me feels like their quality isn't all that great and isn't deserving of that. And then it also begs the question of, like, hey, I feel like my quality is going up, but clearly it's not reflected in reception. I don't know. So, you know, those are my slight insecurities that fester in the back of my mind about that. But for the most part, it is absolutely something that I am proud of. But, you know, at the same time, in terms of, like, trying to crack the code on how to do that again, no fucking idea. I've tried to figure out how to replicate that. I cannot replicate that for the life of me, so I've basically given up on trying. And so again, I'll continue to make video essays from time to time, but I don't have as much motivation for them when it's like, okay, they're probably not gonna be the thing that, you know, really brings this somewhere. So when I have time for content creation, I've been putting more time into playthroughs and less time for video essay editing. Like, with apart from recently I've been doing a lot more editing than I have with streaming. Like, if I open this up, it's gonna take a while to open up. Make a hell of a script. Your video essays are always good. The algorithm is just weird. Well, I greatly appreciate you saying so. Yeah, we'll see if this loads up and I can show what I've currently been working on. So, been working on this thing for Switch 2 because I was kind of hit by, like, the bolt of inspiration with it coming out. It genuinely was not even an idea of, like, hey, Switch 2 is coming out. I should make a video to strike while the iron is hot. It really is just, I got the bolt of inspiration at this point. It just so happens to be at a time that maybe it's striking while the iron is hot, maybe, or, like, however the algorithm works. I don't know. We shall see. It just happened to be the video that I wanted to make at this point because Switch 2 stuff was at the forefront of my mind. It's here, the lens is here! Got the melted. Did I hit B and then, okay, I was about to say, like, I didn't accidentally skip something, did I? Princess Guinevere, the attack on Byrne will commence soon. So, may I ask? The rest of the story. Said King Zephiel was an outstanding pupil in everything he did. It sounds like he would have been an ideal heir to the throne. Yes, I have no doubt. But your father never looked kindly at him. In truth, our father began to despise Zephiel precisely because of his talent. Why would a father resent his own son's talent? Our father was a man of unextraordinary skill and intellect. Zephiel's outstanding talents made our father colder towards him. He was envious? He went as far as to tell Zephiel that he would never inherit Byrne. He said that instead, the throne would go to my future husband. His own father told him that? Heartless man! But Zephiel held strong. He always said he never cared about inheriting the throne. But the people of Byrne knew of Zephiel's genius and wanted him king. Pressured by the public, our father lost his patience at last. That's when he decided to kill Zephiel. Our father gave Zephiel a goblet full of a poisoned drink at a banquet. Okay, Rodrigo Borgia. That was the first and last time Zephiel ever accepted a drink from our father. I thought of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, but then I remembered it was an apple, not a poisoned drink, and I'm getting false memories here. That was the first and last time Zephiel ever accepted a drink from our father. After returning to his room, Zephiel began to fall dreadfully ill. For 10 days and nights, Zephiel lingered between life and death. But Murdoch, Zephiel's teacher and loyal general, saved his life. The old king made no further attempts on his life? No, at least not to completion. I have heard that he schemed to have Murdoch and Zephiel's mother killed. He was scheming to murder everyone connected to Zephiel. Upon learning of our father's intentions, Zephiel feigned death. At his funeral service, our father leaned over the coffin to view Zephiel's body. It was at that moment that Zephiel sprung from the coffin and, sword in hand. I was but a child then, so naturally, I could not understand what was going on. All I knew at the time is that our father died, and Zephiel never smiled again. Before then, he was stern at times, but always a kind and loving brother. But after everything that happened, Princess, I knew that someday I may have to act against him. I see. Zephiel is so far gone now, he will never listen to anything I say. Roy, please, you must stop him. Stop him from destroying Byrne and from destroying Alib. Such a feat will likely require my blade. Yeah. You still ask such a thing of me? Oh, you're saying, like, kill him. I trust your judgment. Do what you must. You have my word, Princess Guinevere. I swear by the Fire Emblem that I will stop King Zephiel. I got a cool lance and stuff. But yeah, let's see here. Read through that Switch 2 script the other day. You have some really good arguments in there. Timmy gets access to classic games while Jimmy gets basic online. Best line from the script. Yeah, and there's a bunch of stuff that, like, I'm probably gonna cut out. Like, there was a whole section on other stuff that I had at the end that I was like, okay, I think that this has gone on about, like, the prices long enough. I do want to laser focus on that, so I'm probably just gonna cut that out. So I have, like, big enters to mark. This is, like, stuff of ye old version that probably isn't gonna make it to final version anymore. I forget if that's, like, one of the lines that's still in there or not. Like, with, revisions, because I'm kind of trying to, like, hone in on, like, a key thing rather than being all over the place there. We're totally gonna promote during the next chapter, right? It's called The Binding Blade, but it's 2:42 in the morning, so I think I'm pretty done here. But I will see a sneak preview of, oh, it's a big open field map. But yeah, there's been a lot of stuff that I've been, like, second-guessing myself about having in there as well, and a lot of stuff that I'm rewriting, some stuff that I'm cutting out. No way, a field. Whoa, hold on. Well, assuming Merlinus came. Yeah, I could then do something like that. Or just even something like this. There's going to be a lot of units this map. But this is why I had thought about having some backup units like Trek. Because I had seen from the deployment amount when I was looking over the maps when I was like planning out my builds in the first place, that there were some maps that you could bring like this many allies. Well, this will be the time to do it. Because it made me laugh quite a bit reading that. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Huh. Yeah, this is gonna be a lot of guys. Probably good jokes in there. I'm trying to come up with like some more things that I can put in here and there. See what stuffs I can do. Yeah, it's gonna be a big open field map. It's one of those. Show a little bit of a sneak preview before the end of the stream here. You can here, let's change it to that so you're not seeing previews of the elements used. Avoid spoilers there. While I was out of town, I remoted into my PC through Parsec, and I just took out, like, my gaps, my failed takes, stuff like that. So I still have this that I need to cut down, but I was like, I probably can't do, like, precision editing while I'm out of town to, like, edit the whole stuff here. But I can at least, you know, save myself some time and cut it down to just, like, the actual stuff and, like, put in some notes for me for later and all that. And, yeah, so I did that. There's script part 2. I finished part 3. I'm gonna need to look over it and do some revisions, like the actual writing part, and then I'll narrate it. I'm trying to do like this new thing where I'm like actually kind of present in some of the stuff here, where it's like I'm on the screen here and talking, but I only had that idea partway through editing. So while I was recording this, I was looking like just at the screen and never at the camera. So I don't know how well it'll turn out here. There are some explicit parts where I look right at the camera because I wasn't sure about like any background footage. I was talking about like tariffs here and kit cars as an example way that like Nintendo could get away with having less tariffs charged on them by just having software installed in foreign countries. And I wasn't sure what footage to use, and so I put some stupid car clips of Watch Dogs in there because I don't know what freaking footage to use for things when I don't have like applicable gameplay footage. So this was going to be about like a few misconceptions about Switch 2, and then it has just become about like prices with like the Switch 2 stuff in general is what it's been, and like that's gonna be more than enough video there. I knew for one of the bits of music, considering this is a video essay all about prices, I had to put in Price from Persona 5. Like it'd be too fitting. I want there to be people that listen to the video and are like, wait, is this video essay about prices using the Price theme from Persona 5? The theme that's literally called Price? Like, I couldn't help myself. So I threw that in there. And we'll see how many people put the connection of, like, the video essay with prices and, like, price there. So there's been a lot of stuff. There's been a lot of graphics, like, visualizing things, which is why there's, like, all these elements stacked on top of elements. Because, like, here's one text element over here and another over here and another over here and all these images and stuff like that to try and visualize things. It's become a little bit of a timeline nightmare is what's been going on here. Like, what's this one, for example? It's gonna take a while before it goes over there. Oh, this is when I was talking about the cost of living. Seems like. Alright, what's one that's a little bit more elaborate here and not just like a whole bunch of graphs and stuff? Big Bang. Is this where I was talking about tariffs? There's not too much graph there. This has got to be something pretty elaborate, all this stuff stacked on top. Let's see here. Yeah, talking about how the heck tariffs work here and stuff. So when I can, I do want to put in, you know, images that'll give people a kick while still, you know, getting the point across. So I put in a Hide the Pain Herald here. Oh, I could do that. Have an image of Miraidon in motorcycle form. That's what I could do when I have the kit cars, because that was like a real thing that people made. Like, I don't know if they would make the connection if I had like a picture of Miraidon in motorcycle form in the in-game, but there was like a real life version that was made. I forget where this is. Pokemon Scarlet, Violet, my god. Miraidon motorcycle real or something like that. Where is the real one? Was developed by Toyota and unveiled in March 2024. Is it this? So there is like a real one that exists. I could totally have that. That'd be a fun idea. Why did that go full screen? Oh, because there's no more right arrow there. I gotcha. Recent, The Last of Us 2, because I was looking for memes to post for my going live notifications there. Um, so yeah, I've been learning a lot about economics. I've been learning a shit ton about tariffs with all my research that I've been doing here. Um, so been learning a whole lot about how that works and talking about like potential way that you can get around if you're shipping like the cartridge without an actual game on it and stuff. And yeah, but this is a case where this is probably what's going on, where it's like the cartridge is being shipped in, the packaging is being done in North Bend, Washington. I figured out from the Nintendo careers page. I figured this out because on the Nintendo careers page, when you select the North Bend, Washington, it says that it's the packaging facility and stuff like that. Welcome back, Reggie Bump. I'm about to wrap things up here. I'm just talking about like the next video essay that I'm working on. I'm not doing any more chapters tonight. I don't have that in me. We're done tonight, I'd say. So yeah, I've been learning a whole bunch about how tariffs work and stuff. What's this graph over here? This graphic here. Yeah, talking about like the percentage of median annual income that it is here. Where's the one with like accounting for inflation? Was it this here, comparing prices over time? This is talking about, okay, the inflation stuff was done here, but I did have to say like, hey, your money is depreciating. So even if like it costs the same with inflation, you do have to consider that like existing savings are losing value is what that's about. Is this the one with inflation and stuff? This is comparing like the actual true buying power cost of things across like different years. Buy a game for $60 in 2012 when they started the $60 standard versus buying a game in 2024 at $60 standard that, you know, since Nintendo's going to like 70 and 80 this year. And like the actual cost is like very different when the thing that you bought in 2024 in terms of buying power is actually like $20 difference. And it's interesting to think about. It's it's been an interesting exploration here with some of this stuff with with all of this. So it is the most sources that I've used in a video essay since the ones I did for university. And technically way more sources than the ones that I did for my university ones, because my university ones are just like pretty short, confined, like contained video essays, not confined. Whereas this is just like as long as it needs to be. So I'm kind of adopting a similar format to like my university video essays where I'm trying to make it like all official like and objective where I can. I do try to talk a little bit about the price at the end being like, hey, there are some things here that I do think are like genuinely messed up, like the fact that Breath of the Wild Nintendo Switch 2 edition costs more than it costs to buy Breath of the Wild and the Switch 2 expansion. It's $5 more expensive to just buy the bundle with the thing already in there. Whereas you would think that a bundle should be cheaper than the sum of its parts, but with Nintendo, it's more expensive, at least here in Canada. In the US, it's technically still more expensive, but by like a penny, because, you know, virtually same amount, but when things are ending with like 99. But here in Canada, it's $5 more expensive to buy Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition than it is to just buy the Switch 1 edition and then buy the like upgrade pack. Like, why? What? I don't know what kind of shrooms they were on when they devised the prices for Canada, but like, what the heck? Harmony, but the thing with tariffs is that Doug Bowser himself said that the tariffs never infected the pricing of the Switch 2, and that's what they actually planned from the very beginning. Yep, they did say that, but like with the current tariffs, I believe that was a response to the tariffs that were unveiled after the like the whole 46% on Vietnam that was unveiled after like the Switch 2 thing Bob there. I do know that Doug Bowser said like in general that tariffs didn't affect their pricing. And I do honestly believe that generally speaking, considering like where's my whole inflation chart here? Like look, there's my face. You can show this for example. Don't mind me reading what I wrote. If we're talking about like just raw price wise, here, maybe I can grab my actual thing here. Just go to a random timestamp there. Go to drive, talking about competition there. Go to here. Give me a second. Because if you're accounting for inflation alone, that alone makes it make sense. Let's see here. Where did I have my chart here? Yeah. Here's part of my script. So if we actually compare the cost of new games at launch for Nintendo consoles, like accounting for inflation today, this is all USD. We see that game prices were getting cheaper over time up until the Wii, where it has since hovered around this like $80 USD equivalent value mark today. So, in terms of like the actual cost of games, while it sucks that they're getting more expensive, the actual price at $80 USD is actually the same price things have been since 2006 with the Wii, and before that point, it was more expensive. And at $70 for a new game, that is actually like a new record cheapness for a full price Nintendo game at launch. Like, maybe 80 is full priced and 70 is their markdown. We'll have to wait and see what they do with like their variable pricing. But at 80, this is like their standard price. This is what it's been for the past 15 years. And like it was getting cheaper until that point, and then it stayed at that point. And if we're getting games at $70 USD, it's actually like cheaper than ever. So by inflation alone, it does make sense that this was the price plan from the beginning, and that tariffs weren't exactly, as big of a contributing factor there. But tariffs are something that I do discuss in the video in terms of like increased production costs, because it is now costing more to get those units into the country and selling it not just in the States but across the Americas, because the cartridges go into red whatever the heck Washington to be packaged and then shipped across the Americas. So if you live in Canada, if you live in Mexico, if you live in Latin America, those cartridges still have to go through the US and incur US tariffs before they reach you. So tariffs still affect you that way, and the tariffs are going to result in like a significant revenue hit in the Americas here in general, not just the US like a lot think. And you also have to consider factors like the depreciating yen, which where's my bit where I talk about the depreciating yen? Um let's see here. Yeah, and that's just business PR. Yeah, and they would say that as well. And I mean, like the whole thing where Doug Bowser was like, "Oh, we're doing variable pricing based on how much value we think you're gonna get out of the game. Like Mario Kart, you can get a ton of hours in that, so we think that that like justifies the higher price." Yeah, that's just corporate PR bullshit. They're very much just having the games be more expensive that they feel like they can get away with. The things that are the console sellers. I estimate that the $80 games are going to be Mario Kart, 3D Zelda games, the next 3D Mario, Smash Bros for sure, and maybe Pokemon. Those things that are their console sellers are definitely going to be 80, and the other things are probably going to be 70. But they're gonna, just have the corporate label of, oh, it's all about like the value that you can get out of the game. No, they're charging more for their console sellers. Like, let's be real here. Though he'll definitely get that comment a million times on the video. Entertainment is like, what about the, like the tariffs not affecting the prices there? Like, I guess I can always put in like a note saying that that is not the case. But I try to make it clear with the inflation, but that by like inflation alone is very much not surprising that the prices are what they are. Entertainment is a luxury. If the luxury is too expensive, I can go elsewhere for it. That is true. The expensive console sellers are convincing me not to buy the consoles. And this is a bit where I talk about like competition as well, where I say that I don't expect the Switch 2 to perform as well as the Switch 1 just because like it released like at a perfect time for global pandemic, and it released at a time that there wasn't competition yet. Like Nintendo very much held a monopoly on the handheld market, unless you count like, laptops playing Steam games. But since it really popped off, there have since been attempts to make something similar with great success like the Steam Deck, or with incredible failure like the Google Stadia. Like, there now exist alternatives with the Switch 2 that there didn't exist during the Switch 1. You want to have on-the-go gaming, you can get something like a Steam Deck. Like, there just does not exist as much reason to buy a Switch 2 as there does a Switch 1 nowadays. So the three main questions that I try to answer with, I'm gonna switch to just chatting. I don't know how much longer I'm going with this, but I'm gonna switch to just chatting category just in case here. There's four main sections in this video. There's three main questions that I try to answer, and then I guess like a little bit of a bonus section of sorts, you could say. So the three main questions that I try to answer is, are the prices actually going up, like in terms of buying power? You already got that spoiled. The answer is no. The second question is, are video games becoming more difficult to afford, though? And then I spend a whole bunch of time just going into like the cost of living, and I talk a little bit about tariffs there and how everything is going up in the States and like the consumer price index and all of that, and conclude that while it is highly individual, like everyone's situation is going to be different, I would say generally, yes, things are getting more difficult to afford. So comparatively speaking, they are getting more expensive, yes. And then the third question is, what are the actual contributing factors to these prices? So I talk about things like tariffs, the depreciating yen, um, the whole like shifting production to Taiwan to Vietnam, sorry, from China, and all sorts of different things there. The bit with the depreciating yen, where am I at for that? Where's that in the video? So, all right, this is in the cost of living and stuff. So I gotta go further in. Declaring war. You could probably guess what that's about. Tariffs and stuff. Is this still in the section about like the cost of living? Yeah, this is the cost of living. So I talk about like college tuition. This is the most relevant thing that I had was the Colonel Sanders dating simulator, because you go to like culinary school and that. I didn't know what other game footage I had that I could use for that from the stuff that I've done. We gotta go further in. Average net worth of Gen Z and stuff like that. Let's see here. Where's the depreciating yen? I'm using all sorts of gameplay clips. Where's the bit where I used Yakuza 0? Because there are some ideas that I have in my head about, oh, I think I was gonna edit something over. No, that's just one where it's actually looking at me. Hold on. Virtual game cards and stuff. Kit cars. And then we're into this. I don't know where the bit that I'm talking about the depreciating yen is. But when I talk about, like, it's getting more expensive to buy, like, the same amount of foreign currency because the yen is depreciating, I had, like, those clips from the Yakuza games where he's like, I'll pay for it in cash. It opens the briefcase as it shows it multiple times. Like, because I can't help myself but put stuff like that in. What are other, like, random shit posts that I put in here? Can't remember right now. It's been a while since I actually edited the video here because I was away for, like, the past week. And in the meantime, I was just cutting this down and not, like, re-going over this and stuff. But, yeah. Switch 1 was disappointing enough that I don't feel like getting a Switch 2. That's fair. I enjoyed the Switch 1, and I'll get a Switch 2. Like, I thought that there was a lot of games on Switch 1 that I really enjoyed, but, you know, to each their own there. What entertainment are they expecting for a tech demo? Again, $10 for the tutorial. Oh yeah, that brings me into like the last section. So I said that like the third one was answering the question of what are the actual contributing factors to the prices. And that's like, you know, the whole main thing that I wanted to talk about. But then I realized at the end, okay, there are things that I do like genuinely want to criticize about the prices and want to say like, hey, this is too far. So the final section that I don't have here yet, that I'm gonna have to like narrate and tack onto the end here, is talk about things like the paid demo, the whole like upgrade packs, like, hey, performance enhancements are free for all these games, but it's paid for Breath of the Wild. But look, it's worth it. We're bundling in a phone app that you can use that serves as a companion to the game to justify the price of paying for fucking 60 FPS. Like things like that I spent a little bit of time with. The continued situation with Nintendo Online and all of that. And then wrapping it all up in a bow in the end being like, hey, if you want to get the console, then get it. If you don't want to get the console, then don't get it. Honestly, if I had to recommend someone for like a platform to play games on, I would honestly say PC. But yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at. So I've been working away at this. I want to get it done for June. So I guess I have 2 weeks to make the rest of it. I can do it. When I was really committing to this and not streaming that much, I was able to go like pretty ham on this in terms of progress. I can get it done in 2 weeks here. But there might not be too much streaming during that time. I'll probably still be able to beat Binding Blade with the time that I have left because again, like Megaland's this weekend instead of that weekend. So I have some extra time. So my priorities right now in terms of content creation are beat Binding Blade and get this video done for that date. Or no, this date, sorry. That's the date. It's June 5th, not June 4th is the release date of the Switch 2. So, yeah, I'll figure it out. I still have a shit ton of video to make. This is Camtasia 2019 is what this video editing software is. I originally got Camtasia 2018, then I got 2019. And then I think I got 2020, but like I didn't like it and I didn't use it all that much, and then I kept on using 2019 because like 2020 lagged my computer and it was kind of weird. But I always wondered like, should I get like a much later version as they put it out? But nowadays, Camtasia is a subscription service. Camtasia Studio. So if you have a version from 2020 onward, you now need to subscribe. It is no longer software that you purchase and have forever. It is now something that you need to subscribe to for quite the chunky amount of funds. But apparently for 2019 and earlier versions, they still count that as like, hey, you bought it, you own it. It's just 2020 and onward that you now have to subscribe for a bit of a chonking price. So I think I'm okay sticking with 2019 here. I don't exactly have the funds to be paying for the stupid subscription. Why does everything have to be a freaking subscription nowadays? Um, so yeah, they scratch that theories are affecting us. They absolutely are there. Most of the games I liked on Switch 1 are also available on Steam. Didn't like many of the exclusives on the platform there. Point doing most of my gaming on PlayStation 5, but what games are on that? I know that that's a recurring meme. There are a bunch of games on PlayStation 5, just not a whole bunch of exclusive ones. I actually quite enjoy my PlayStation 5, and I need to get it set back up here again one of these days and finish off Ghost of Tsushima. Or I guess maybe I'll do that at Megaland. I don't know if I bother to take my PS5 with me there. Simple, be radical, and find a GameCube. Or that. Advice for getting others ready. You can trick Adobe into giving you 37 days of free trial. I think I'm good with my software that I own here of Camtasia and Affinity Photo. At least I didn't pull an Adobe and force everyone who bought a lifetime subscription into monthly. That's true. Or like early cancellation fees and stuff like that. So, yeah, this is where I'm at here. I'm going to try to have this ready to put out on that day because it's the launch day of the Switch 2. It'd be really fitting. So, been trying to go ham here. Afraid of what price the next Mario, Zelda, Kirby, and especially Pokemon games are going to cost now. Probably $80 for things like Pokemon, Mario, and Zelda. Probably $70 for Kirby. Pokemon, I don't know whether they'll do 70 or 80, but that's my predictions right now. I feel like they're console seller titles they're going to have at 80, and then they're more typical just games that they're putting out, they're probably going to have at 70. Is what I feel like is probably going to be the case here. Anyway, it is 3:04 in the morning. I should probably wrap things up here pretty soon. Oh God, I remember when pandemic hit, I needed a month of Adobe for a high school class. Didn't understand and cancel my subscription. Suddenly I was out over $100. Yep. Early cancellation fees. You refuse to continue giving us money over the coming months. Here's the early cancellation fee. Like, when I think of greed, Adobe is probably one of the first companies that I think of. Because, my God. I think of Adobe, I think of Nintendo. I, there's definitely a decent few companies I think of. From that day on, I vowed to never use Adobe and pirate Photoshop. Yeah, I very much believe in the statement of like, if you want people to get your product, like you need to offer them like a better service than the pirates do. And man, when you are offering such a shit service, not to say that I condone piracy, but when you are presented a better alternative than what the producer otherwise gives you, Nintendo expansion pass, then the answer is pretty clear. You know, so yeah. Like I was mentioning earlier, if anyone was getting into gaming and I had to recommend them a platform, I would probably just say PC. So I have no doubt that a lot of people are gonna look at this video and assume that I'm just like a stark Nintendo defender for the most part. Like, and that there have been some Twitter threads made about me before with my video essays, with the Pokemon essays, where it's like, oh my God, I can't believe this YouTuber said this. If somehow this does pop off and there's like Twitter threads made about me for this, I have no doubt that people would start sharing the photos of like that meme where it's like, leave the multi-billion-dollar company alone. I have no doubt that people would caption my name and share that image around. Like, I feel like that would probably be inevitable. With this kind of video essay, it's like, the prices really aren't that absurd when you account for inflation alone. And then when you also consider like the additional overhead costs with like depreciating yen and tariffs and stuff like that, and like the significantly less profit that's gonna be made off of these games, realistically, in terms of like the revenue that they make, you're actually getting a pretty decent deal cut compared to before. Like, one could argue that the price of games in general is a bit high. And like I completely understand that. Like it can be difficult to afford games when they do cost like quite a decent bit. I've seen videos like Sakurai's where you can argue that like, hey, at least you're getting like so much more value out of games. You can spend a similar amount of money for like a night out at the movies with a group, and that's just like a contained experience that's then gone forever rather than something that you keep and you can return to and you play for hours and hours and hours. So I get the value there, but I do also understand the argument of like games are expensive in general. So I say, like, compared to the way that it was before with Wii U and Switch 1, It's not that surprising, and it's honestly a bit of a deal being cut for prices. Like, if we're saying that that's the benchmark standard was the Wii U and Switch prices of $60. But if we want to make the argument that like games are just expensive in general, yeah, that is a fair argument to make. Like I very much get it. Um, but yeah, let's see here. Two of you, one because I'm pirate is free. Not to endorse it on my channel. Not to be endorsing that. We're encouraged to use Adobe by our game superiors. In practice, you can find plenty of free alternatives. Yeah, for sure. Or things that you can, just pay for and own, like Affinity Photo, like I use. This game from Steam said piracy is a service issue. You're not providing good enough service. Yep, and that's something I absolutely agree with. Example, why pay for monthly Illustrator services when you can use Inkscape for free that has all that? Yep, I agree. Same here, yeah, I'd recommend PC gaming instead. Yeah. Like, I have my issues with Steam, what with like the whole 30% Steam tax, and I get that that's like a standard platform fee. But I do really like just how good of a service they provide. There's a reason why Steam is like the go-to thing with PC gaming and not think, oh yeah, I was playing this with my cousin's kid and his friends literally right before starting the stream. Ignore that. What did I do to my scroll wheel? Like, I do get that that's pretty standard platform fees, but I do feel like it's still a bit much. They could be taking a little bit less of a piece of the pie there. But like, the service that Steam provides is just so good. You know, like there is a very much a reason why platforms like Epic Games and Amazon Games or Amazon Luna or whatever the hell or GOG that try to compete really struggle to do so because like the service that's being provided is so good. You know, like I feel like Steam is a really good example of providing a service that is superior than what you would get through like piracy. And so people that might otherwise pirate would get through like standard means because they're being provided like a really good service. So yeah. Will he ever cosplay N again? I'm sure I will. Maybe I'll shave off this beard first. I keep on saying I'm gonna do it in the near future, and then I keep on like not doing it. Probably take it off for Megaland. It's starting to like annoy me. You could probably see me like scratching this right side here multiple times at the end of this stream. I'm sure I will. I still have this stuff around. Benefit to PC gaming by sticking to Epic Games. You can easily find the game you want for free. Yeah, potentially there. Like I get a decent few games for free from Epic when I can remember to check. On Bioshock Trilogy and Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga for a fine price of $0. Yeah, and that's something really nice that Epic provides. And I try, like sometimes I forget. I try to remember to boot up Epic sometimes and like fill out my library of stuff. Like, oh shit, I haven't actually reinstalled it since my computer got reset. I don't have it here anyway. But yeah, anyway, we've gotten a little bit sidetracked. It's 3:10 in the morning. Anyone that's like watching this on YouTube after the fact and this is still just like a part of Fire Emblem 6 is gonna be like, what the hell? There's so much that just isn't Fire Emblem in this. There's so much other random crap at the end. That's what happens when you live stream. I'm gonna have to play this again with family soon. Apparently they added like a big update where the Illuminate are invading Earth and they have like a whole bunch of new enemy types and crazy stuff, and it sounds like it'd probably be fun and stuff. So I should probably look into playing this with family soon because there's a whole bunch of new stuff in this update here. Major cause for Epic was Unreal. The reality is getting to save 60 bucks. Yeah, it can definitely save a whole lot of money. I do have a lot of games for free from both Epic and just having like a Prime subscription. I try to be on top of like getting free games for that. So I now have like a whole bunch of free games on Epic. I have a bunch of games on GOG. I have a whole bunch of games on Legacy Games and probably some other platforms that I forget what they're called. Like I have a whole bunch of like random games around that I hope I don't forget are there when I go to play like some classic game. I'm like, oh, it's not in my Steam library. I better buy it. Like I'm gonna have to remember to check these other platforms because there are absolutely some games I would like to cover on the channel one day that I own for free anyway. So I'm like, why would I buy them again? Yeah, frag tickets are on sale already, but you can't reserve seats yet. That I'm not entirely sure when that's going to be, but they are indeed on sale. Let's talk about frag now. We also have a new website now. There's been some website changes. At least I think that this is the new updated website, since we were doing like a whole bunch of testing of it and making sure that worked. Basically, a new website, so as you navigate, may be redirected to a new location. Please read the info on the new site. Okay, yeah. So it might not be fully the new site yet, but we have been, testing out a new website and stuff like that. But I guess a lot of this is the way that it was before and stuff like that. Warning, undefined array key view. So you're going to see a lot of stuff like this around the website right now where, a lot of stuff is being changed and shifted around here. So, yeah, tickets are on sale, but there is not seating. I think you go to seating and it still shows for last year, 2024. Okay, don't take care of the Reggie bump. I'm going to wrap things up here soon. So, yeah, look, there I am. I don't know why it said no one was beside me when, like, my little cousin was beside me. I'm going to try to get into, like, a similar area like this again this year so I can run my tournaments on the stage very conveniently. So I'll be at, like, one of these ends. Next to me will be my friend from Germany, Finn. And then next to us there will probably be, like, my cousin's kids or something like that. Like, unless they end up going and, like, sitting next to their friends. Something or other. But we're at least going to have, like, our section of 2, maybe 3 or 4. Going to try to be close to the stage. Is what we are going to do here. And I kind of liked having this for, like, the extra walkway space behind and stuff like that, because I was able to have the space to, like, interview people after the fact and have a space where people could, like, play their sets, their stations and stuff here, instead of being, like, crammed between rows. So I had space to do things here with my stream and my tournaments when it was a bit of a walking area. So I'm gonna try and do something like this again this year. So Emerald Finder, if you end up going to Frag, you better not snag the seat that I kind of need for my thing. I assume that I'll probably be one of the first people that hears when seating goes live because, like, my cousin will probably tell me. But we shall see here. And then he just sits at, like, the head table and stuff here at one of these. There's Maverick that I still have a thing for. What is his name not listed on the? Oh, it's listed there. Interesting. Freaking Maverick here. I still have this dragon for. I've told him multiple times that I have this for him. He asked me to print it for him, like, forever ago. And he keeps on not coming to events like Janland to pick it up and stuff. And I say that he can come by here and pick it up. It hasn't really been brought up for a little while. I'll for sure see him at Fragapalooza. Maybe I'll see him at Megaland, and I can finally give him the dragon that I printed him. I have some kinks to work out in my 3D printer now. I better get on top of, like, 3D printing dragons for Frag this year. Because if I save it for last minute, I'm going to run out of time. So I better start troubleshooting my printers. That's another thing I gotta do in the future. But yeah, owned by Epic Games. It's on topic for for Fortnite there. It's so late, so I'm heading out. Have a good one. Yeah, I'm gonna head out here as well. I wasn't planning on staying here long, which is why I, like, didn't get any music playing or anything like that. I think I better head on out of here. Next time we're going to burn, and we're going to burn them with our fire tomes. It will be great. So yeah, I'll keep on chipping away at this, try to beat it before Megaland. I'll try to get that video essay done if I can, but, if I can't and it ends up coming out a little bit later, then that's just the way it has to be. But we'll see. I better get to bed. Gotta get up at a semi-decent hour and go grab lunch with my dad at a friend's brewery that we'll be going to, so that should be fun there. So until next time, take care and see you. Goodbye.